get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and they. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.
Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to Drinking After Dark Podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, I'm drinking on whiskey and Coke. And tonight, man, we're going to have a great episode for you guys, man. This week has been a wild week. There's a couple of topics I want to get into. But let's go and get into this first topic, man. It's pretty much breaking news. Talk about it. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson passed away, age of 76. Lost his battle to cancer. Big news, a lot of reactions and things like that. Unfortunately, some people are happy, some people are sad, and everything like that. Just a quick background on O.J. Simpson. A lot of people remember him from the trial, but if you're a sports fan, you remember him at his days at USC, Heisman Trophy winner, of course. Great career in the NFL. He was basically the first running back in NFL history to rush for 2,000 yards. We all know how, for a running back to run for 2,000 yards in the season, it's like a great accomplishment and everything like that. OJ pretty much was like the grandfather of all of that, right? After the NFL, he acting career. If y'all seen Naked Gun, the franchise pretty much like that. He was in the movies. Can't lie, he could do comedy movies. In terms of acting, a lot of athletes who turn actors, they tend to do more comedy than anything else because it doesn't really. Some of them could do drama. I'm not saying that every athlete can't do drama, but there have been some players who have done drama, but he's done comedy and things like that. Great franchise, very funny franchise. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. My favorite one is Naked Gun 33 and the third. That's my favorite one out of the franchise. But OJ passed away today at the age of 76. But we all know what he's going to be remembered for the most. Okay. If we go back to the mid 90s, me at the time, I'm just a kid. You really don't have a sense of what's going on because I'm into cartoons and I was even into sports even at that age, right? Into sports, basketball, primarily basketball, football was the second sport I was into, and I also watched baseball and things like that. And we all remember that car chase in LA, him and the white Bronco, right? It was even a playoff game going on. There was a game going on. I think was it the finals? What? No, was it? No, it was postseason. I know the Knicks were playing in Madison Square Garden, and they basically put their game in a little box in the corner and show live footage. OJ and the white Bronco. Behind him was a whole bunch of cops, right? A whole bunch of cops, and this was for the alleged double murder, right? Obviously, they had a series. I think they did a 30 for 30. ESPN did a 30 to 30 on that. But obviously, that trial became the biggest trial of all time. If anybody who watched the big time trials today, where everybody's eyes is on it, the OJ trial was the biggest trial ever, right? And of course, being the 90s, most people will say that's the golden era, the golden decade. Um, I will agree with it. I just, my childhood throughout the entire 90s. I mean, I still watch shows from the 90s, right? Whether it's TV shows, even reality shows that got the real world and stuff like that. You have the cartoons that I'll go back and watch too. So it's a decade of everything. And there was a lot of unfortunate events that took place too back then. The OJ trial changed. Matter of fact, it pretty much brought court TV to the forefront before court TV was even a thing. Um, that OJ trial was basically a television series, right? His team of lawyers versus the prosecution. We all know Johnny Cochran, you know, the man who led the way for OJ to get acquitted. Um, that trial had so many factors to it, man. So many layers to it, which is, when you're talking about the trial of the century, I mean, I don't think there will ever be a trial as big as that. And you got to think this is before social media, so you got to think the news coverage of this trial was crazy. Everybody was tuned in. Everybody was tuned in, and unfortunately, you were kind of like forced to watch it. If you want to watch TV as a kid, and I don't know how it was for some people, but I know in my family, it wasn't a TV in every room. And for the Gen Zers, listen, technology ain't what it is back then as it is today. So you pretty much would have to watch what your parents was watching, and they were glued to the TV. I mean, it was talked about constantly, right? And then, um, how long did that trial go for? Months. I think that trial went for months, and the jury came back with a verdict after a couple of hours. They came back, and people were like, "What already?" You know why they came back with a verdict so quick? Because they were tired of being secluded from everybody else. They had them in a hotel room away from the world, right? And we all know, again, you could go back, watch the trial, watch the docu series or the 30 for 30. We all know the biggest turning point in the trials when uh, the prosecution asked OJ to put on the gloves and it didn't fit. Obviously, that became one of the biggest catchphrases. I mean, you still got people that use it today. It goes, um, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. You know, Johnny Cochran. I mean, come on now. Um, but the team of lawyers got him off. And no, after the trial and everything, did he go? I think he got sued. I think it went to the families went to civil trial. Excuse me, went to civil trial. Because in the first one, he actually didn't testify. He didn't testify nothing. In a civil trial, pretty much, yeah, you got to testify in a civil trial. So I think they found him liable. I don't know what I don't remember, but after that, obviously, he got in trouble again for stealing his own memorabilia. So he was locked up. Came out. I remember he wrote a book, "If I Did It" book. I'm like, dude, like seriously, um, stuff like that. And to be honest with you, he was, you know, he was on social media. I mean, if anybody who followed OJ Simpson, I didn't follow him. but OJ will put out videos. I mean, over the what last couple of years, just putting up stuff on social media and things like that. And I mean, it's a crazy, crazy journey. Um, was there some controversy around OJ Simpson? Absolutely. A lot of people felt like he turned his back on the black community once I guess, once he became Hollywood. Let's put it that way. Once he became Hollywood, he really wasn't dealing with black issues, wasn't talking about, the black issues. It was like standoffish, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people um looked at that and pretty much they like, yeah, we don't really want to deal with OJ anymore. But that trial took place. Actually, it wasn't even too long after the Rodney King trial, because the Rodney King trial happened first, which the officers were acquitted. Then the OJ trial happened, which OJ was acquitted. So you got both sides of people who were just all upset because their side didn't win, right? Difference was in the Rodney King uh, trial, we seen on tape the officers knowing what they're doing. Still got acquitted. I don't know how that happened, but Rodney King got paid. He got paid. Um, but yeah, the OJ trial happened. Actually, it was so funny. I think I watched 30 for 30 ESPN, and one of the jurors who voted not guilty, they asked him if you had to go back, would you vote guilty? He said, yes, I would. The other juror said, and this is on 30 for 30. I remember watching this because this is when the whole OJ thing was exploding again. Because I think it was that series OJ versus the People, where Cuba Gooding Jr. played OJ. Why? Um, one of the jurors basically said the reason why she decided to plead not to vote not guilty was because what happened in the Rodney King trial. I was like, wow. So, but yeah, that's OJ will forever be remembered. Yes, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, uh, Hall of Famer. Can't deny that, but he will always be remembered for that trial, the biggest trial ever. I don't think there will ever be a trial as big as that. It got to be somebody. It got to be somebody super famous, right, to um, compete with that trial and the effects of that trial. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had big trials after that, but nobody will go back and talk about that, how big that trial is, like you would talk about the OJ trial, right? So that's what happened, and that's what he's always going to be remembered for. So, OJ passed away of cancer, man. All I can say is, man, RIP to him, man. Um, some you're gonna have some people with the mean tweets out there, the mean posts on their social media, right? So all I can say is RIP to OJ Simpson, and uh, condolences go out to his family. They're the ones that's grieving and everything. However you feel about OJ, don't take it out on the family. His children, grandchildren, they had nothing to do with that. So all I gotta say about that. All right, y'all, man. Like I said, there was a lot that took place, man, within the last week. We got to talk about last weekend. All right. We're moving on to last weekend, and I'm talking about WrestleMania 40. Okay. WrestleMania 40 was an amazing, amazing 2-night event. Okay. I can't even lie. The main events on Saturday and Sunday gave us everything that we wanted. Matter of fact, the main event Saturday really helped. I mean, the main event Saturday, excuse me, was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, right? The it was a tag team event. Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. And that match had everything, right? Um, and I'm gonna say this for The Rock. First off, he's in great shape, right? But any athlete would know you could be in. There's a difference between in shape and game shape. So if you went back and if you was a person who watched WrestleMania like I did, and I'm going to admit the reason why I watched it, I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. The reason why I watched WrestleMania because The Rock was a part of it. He was going to be in a match. I wanted to see, you know, how well he was going to move in the ring. Was there going to be the ring rust or anything like that? You could tell over time he was training to get back into ring shape, right? And I'm going to say I was very impressed with The Rock. Um, it felt like he never left the business. He never left the ring. It came back like it was natural to him, right? The way he commanded the ring, his attitude and his showmanship. Uh, it's almost like his storytelling within the ring. It was just amazing to have The Rock back in there, and of course, man, I mean, the spots, man, the trash talking. That's what I really appreciate. It was trash talk. It made you believe more into this story. That's what it did. It made you believe much more into the story. And I'm going to admit, I was like intrigued, right? Obviously, Roman Reigns and The Rock won that night, uh, which the stipulation was to be bloodline rules the next night in the main event against uh, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Okay, now let's stick to Saturday night. I gotta talk about the women. Boy, I'm telling you, these women can put on a show. Okay, if you didn't see the six, I just call it the 6 man tag team, the 6 woman tag team match, right? Um, Bianca Belair. I mean, she is a freak of an athlete, right? I mean, the stuff that she does is just like wow, right? Um, Jay Cargill. I mean, like she was in AEW. That's how she got her name. It was kind of like a people always, if you were a wrestling fan, it was like, why don't you get Jay Cargill versus Bianca Belair? Like those were like the two best people saw. Like you got to get this matchup to happen. Um, and Naomi came back to the WWE. Um, I mean, these 3 women are just absolutely phenomenal, and their opponents, I can't remember their names. Um, dang it, what is that? It was in my mind, I forgot, but they were absolutely fantastic too. And excuse me. So I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, yo, this is a great match. I mean, it gave you everything that you wanted, right? The ending was spot on. You know, it was one of those type of matches. Like, yo, and I wish, and if you were a guy like me who grew up watching wrestling, especially during the Attitude Era, the women in WWE back then in WWF, they were more eye candy. So you really didn't have women wrestling. They were there as an attraction, pretty much, right? And I think really one you had China, obviously, but China really didn't have anybody to go with or go against in the WWE, so they put her against men. Then you had like this next. wave of women. Yeah, the Trish Stratus, the Litas, and they kind of really jumpstart this whole thing. And now you start seeing women. I mean, let's be honest, women. I believe one night, it could be a Saturday night if they do this at WrestleMania. Um, I believe there could be a women's match that can be the main event at WrestleMania. And you gotta remember, it's a two-part event. So one night you can have the women main event, then the next night the men. I mean, the way it's going, it looked like it could be that way. So, uh, and let's just be honest, like when I watched the Royal Rumble, the women's Royal Rumble match was better than the men's Royal Rumble match. Just my opinion. So that's my take on it. Um, Obviously, man, every match was, I mean, freaking great. Go to If you go to the Sunday night, obviously we know you got to talk about the main event again. I mean, Roman Reigns, uh, Cody Rhodes. That main event had everything and more. I mean, and let's just be honest. We knew we gonna see the bloodline interfere in this match some way, somehow, right? What we didn't see, this is what I didn't. I mean, I was like so excited. John Cena coming out. Boy, did it. And you can tell he's a little older now, but still in great shape, right? And he came out there, did his thing. Then The Rock came in right after that. Well, first off, it started off with the Usos, right? They had their match Saturday night. Great match, right? And they came out, obviously, brother against brother. You know how that went. But then after that, that's when John Cena came out. And then The Rock came out. Boy, put John Cena in the rock bottom. Hey, I loved it. I mean, I got to see the people's elbow again on Saturday night, so I was like, yo, I was happy about that. And I think, hold on, if I remember Saturday night too, Cody Rhodes actually, if I remember, he put what did he do? He put the Rock through a table with his own move. I think, if I remember correctly. But anyway, the Rock comes out, put John Cena in a rock bottom. Obviously, he had that belt that over the storyline he was, going across the back of Cody Rhodes, and he was about to do it again. And next thing you know, you hear the Undertaker's theme music because people was like thinking Stone Cold's gonna come out because you gotta remember that epic match at WrestleMania. I think it was WrestleMania 15. The headline was The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? Uh, and that's when The Rock was the champion at the time. If y'all remember that promo that Monday prior, that's what Stone Cold Steve Austin came in with the beer truck, gave that great promo, and then start spraying the McMahons and the Rock with the beer. So you'll think, okay, back in Philadelphia, 25 years later, you got uh, Stone Cold coming out, but threw a curveball, and the Undertaker came out and gave the Rock the choke slam. I mean, I was screaming. I mean, my wife and my daughter, they heard me screaming. I was screaming like a little boy again, right? Excited to see one of your favorite wrestlers come out, when you didn't expect it. And then obviously Cody Rhodes finished it off, uh, won the championship. So it was just an amazing, amazing night. Uh, Bailey obviously winning the women's championship. That was a great match too, by the way. A very great match. So I'm telling you, man, and the unsung hero, man. People got to understand Triple H. Triple H, come on, man. If Vince McMahon would just gave over the reins and not let his ego get the best of him, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon was getting this company back on track because a lot of people was turned off by it. But Triple H, I'm telling you, man, hey, I thank you. Triple H, man, hopefully one day you can see this and you'll be able to come on my podcast because listen, I've been a fan of yours ever since I was a kid and stuff like that. And I'm just going to be honest with you. That was a great weekend for WWE. AEW, I don't know what y'all going to do. I mean, we just don't know. And I don't even watch wrestling like that, but I do know AEW. I don't know how long they're going to last. I just don't know. And congratulations to all the new inductees to the WWE Hall of Fame, too. It was just a great weekend for the WWE, hands down, hands down. All right, y'all. So we gotta get into our last and final topic. We gotta talk about uh earlier last Sunday. Okay. Uh, obviously before WrestleMania, there was a national championship game being played. Iowa versus South Carolina. South Carolina, uh, uh, South Carolina undefeated. Iowa got Caitlin Clark. Uh, Iowa's going against the SEC school, second straight year, national championship. They lost to LSU last year. This year they're going against South Carolina, and South Carolina proved that it takes more than one player to win a national championship. Uh, Coach Don Staley, South Carolina women's basketball team, national champions. Uh, perfect season. Um, over the last, what did they say, 3 years, something like that. Last 3 years, South Carolina has been 109-3. I mean, come on now. And now you're hearing rumblings about Coach Don Staley uh, possibly being interviewed by a men's college team, Kentucky, or you know, maybe the NBA. Who knows? But we all know this. She's a Hall of Fame coach. Not only is she a Hall of Fame player, but she's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. She can coach, hands down. And the way that she runs her program, the way that she presents her program, with class and oh, I mean, first off, her speech after her post game comments after the game was amazing. But the fact that she gives credit to everybody who uh helped this process of winning the championship. If y'all don't know, she actually has guys come in and practice with her players. Exactly. So they come in and they practice with their players to uh practice, right? Play against them. So they're going against bigger, stronger, faster guys. Um, you know, During practice. So it helps them out when it comes to games. And South Carolina I mean, they were the best team all season long. Uh, they were the best team, right? And improved it. Now let's get to the Iowa side because Caitlin Clark, what she has done for the women's game especially over the last 2 seasons, has been great. But this is the issue that I have. Last year and this past Sunday, it's I don't know what if the media has this agenda or something, but how I never seen a person who lost a game, the biggest game in women's college basketball, get more coverage than the national champions. We heard the comments from First Lady Biden last year talking about, yeah, I mean, they should be able to come to the White House too. No, losers don't go to the White House. The champions do. Okay. And then you have this media outlets giving more coverage to Caitlin Clark. I'm like, she didn't win. You get coverage when you win. Is she a great talent? Absolutely. But she did not win. So the fact that you have two teams, back to back SEC teams, one LSU, one South Carolina, that beat Iowa, by the way, in the national championship game. And yet it seemed like Iowa got more coverage than the actual national champs. That's why I was so happy, man, for all the people to make sure that you give South Carolina the proper respect. They are the champions. You know what they should start doing? I'm gonna tell you what they should start doing. Hold on. This is what they should start doing. Anytime the national champion wins, or say, because you don't see this, you really don't see that on a pro level. It's on the college level. These are men and women here, right? Young men, young women. There's this song called from Queen. It's called "We Are the Champions," right? They need to play that song, and you gotta listen to the lyrics. The lyrics, I'm gonna give you a part of it. It says, uh, "No time for losers, because we are the champions." Okay, which basically means is it's okay to give, you know, the team who just lost, yeah, give them credit. They had a great season. They made it this far. Give them that. But that's who the focus should be on, is the actual champion. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna go to the men's side. Butler, this was like what, 2010, 2011. Butler was a Cinderella story. The first time they went to the national championship, right? Nobody talked about Butler when they lost. They went back again. They went back again to the national championship and lost. But guess what? They didn't get as much coverage. The national champion team, the national champions did. So that's why I would say, you know, hey, look, I know Caitlin Clark, she was big for women's college basketball. So was a lot of other women, the Angel Reese. Right now, the new face, in my opinion, the new face of women's college basketball is Juju Watkins out there at USC. She's the new face right now. Um, but listen, it's cool to give some coverage because they got there, but the champions should get most of the coverage. That's who we celebrate. We celebrate winners, right? We're not. I grew up in an era where participation trophies, you didn't get those, right? Now maybe like on a little kid, pee wee level, you might be like 5, 6. Everybody got something because at that level, kids just want to play. They just want to make friends, stuff like that. They don't really care about the score. They don't know really what's going on. They just playing. Um, but when you get older, the champion gets the trophy. That's just how it is. So I think that the media do right, do right. And when I talk about me, I'm talking all media, whether it's your local news, national news, podcasters, you know, do right. And I'm glad the people, like I said, they made sure they kept Coach Don Staley, the coaching staff and the team, the women's team, kept them in the spotlight. So congratulations to South Carolina women's basketball team for winning the national championship. And I'm gonna give a shout out to UConn, back to back men's champions. Uh, hey, look, I think UConn is they building something over there. Coach Hurley is he's building something over there. So who knows, man? But we all know the women's game was people paid attention more to that than the men's game. Who knows? Maybe the men should catch up. I'm just saying, maybe they should. All right, y'all, man. I really appreciate you guys tuning in with me tonight. Um, this was fun. Everything. I hope you guys are drinking responsibly and everything like that. Please don't drink and drive. Also, man, y'all remember to follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure y'all hitting like that subscribe button to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Hey, look, man, my goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, man, please tell your friends and family to subscribe to this channel, and let's grow this thing, man. Let's make this thing bigger and everything like that. All right. Also, man, y'all can catch Drinking After Dark podcast on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Um, you can do that. I know there's some people probably thinking about Google Podcasts. I know they were doing away with, Google Podcasts. So pretty much, yeah, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and wherever you listen to podcasts, man. Check out the episodes, man. Tell your friends and family about it. We just here to have a good time and everything like that. So that's what we do. All right. Until next time, Darius from Drinking After Dark podcast, and we out. Peace.
Gotta get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and they. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.